I had an interesting day recently. I started the day in a meeting that was designed to discuss budget issues for the Cultural Arts Department at the Jewish Community Center where I work. For 6 years now, since 2006, the Cultural Arts Department has been mainly a theater, a community theater, a theater facility that was built. Big fundraising effort, big capital campaign. They built a $13 million facility. They have mounted since then increasing numbers of community theater productions in that facility. And since then they've also consistently raised their level of giving. But there is concern that the level of giving has topped out and that the level of expenses will continue to rise unless we're careful. So I spent a lot of time in that meeting talking about why shows cost so much, why we need to invest money in the shows we put on our stage, even at times when ticket sales and donations don't cover the costs entirely, why it's okay sometimes to lose money on one show and make money on another. I went straight from that meeting into another meeting where a representative from the 6 Points Foundation, it's a foundation dedicated to funding artists who are working in Jewish mediums. 6 Points, I think it's interesting, they're named 6 Points. They don't have the word Jewish in their title anywhere. 6 Points, though, there are 6 points on the Star of David. So it's Jewish, but it's kind of surreptitiously Jewish. And what they do is they fund artists who are working with Jewish themes, Jewish mediums, Jewish ideas, Jewish philosophies. They don't fund Jewish artists. They fund artists creating Jewish art. It's a difference. When somebody at some point asked a question, which was an innocent question, but the way 6 Points works is they give an artist a sum of money for their project. Then they also give the artist a living wage, a stipend, so that they can quit one of their 7,000 part-time jobs and actually have some time to work on their art. And during this year that they are in residence at 6 Points, they also take several classes in marketing, in how to talk to the media, in budgeting, in all these things that artists sadly need to know these days in order to make a living. And the question was, the people that teach those classes, do you pay them? Or are they volunteers? And the answer was, well, we always try to pay people. We think people ought to be paid. And there was a audible titter in the room as people consider the idea that you should pay artists. And it was interesting to me reading into this titter and not knowing why people giggled, but the idea that, well, they're artists, so they should be glad to come and work for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and 2 nickels. That was how I interpreted it. Somebody else next to me who's not an artist interpreted it as, well, of course people should be paid for what they do. That's the way the world works. So it was funny how our different perspectives balanced. I came out of a meeting where I had to sit and defend the artist's life, so to speak, into a meeting where it was a given that artists should be paid. So I know I do so many vlogs that don't really have answers, that don't really have points, but these are questions that I think are worth thinking about, and I think they're probably questions to which I've alluded before. There might be questions I've even asked before on previous vlogs. I need to probably rewatch everything I've done so far. But it's a big question for me, is how do you convince people, the world, the corporations, grantors, funders, ticket buyers, how do you convince people that art is worth paying for? There's a great story floating around the internet right now. I've heard it before on the internet. It's making a resurgence. It's that meme, as they say, where they put Joshua Bell in a subway station. Nobody stops to listen. What's the why? Is it because we are too busy? That's the point that a lot of people try to make. Or could it be because I didn't buy a ticket to hear great violin music today, so I have not put myself in a place to hear great violin music? I'm not open to that because I didn't pay for it. And that's a question that is kind of confusing and a little bit touchy. If you offer your art for free, does it devalue your art? Artists should be paid. Why? Well, they deserve economic dignity, but also to save art. We need to pay for our art so that we value our art. Anything that you get for free in your life, think about it. Somebody gives you an ice cream cone, you're like, dude, free ice cream cone, you eat it. Somebody gives you an ice cream cone and says, hey, this is $2.50, you pay the $2.50, you've parted with something that's valuable to you, so you're going to take more time to appreciate that ice cream cone. And isn't that what art is really all about? I'm not saying we should stop offering our art for free in situations that call for it, but you don't need to give it away for free all the time, because if we keep doing that to our art, we don't have value anymore. And that's the main point. So don't give it away. I guess I actually made a point. Don't give it away.